What's up everybody, my name is AxiA. I'm a cinematographer, filmmaker based in Los Angeles, California. In today's video, I want to break down the lighting that I did for the scene that you saw in the beginning of this video, which is, essentially a recreation of the cinematography style of the movie Saw. Saw is actually a series of horror movies that came back at this point 10, 15, maybe even 20 years ago. I can't remember for sure, but they had this very cool, distinct look to it. And today, with the help of some BTS materials, I want to show you how we lit that scene for a music video that my friend Orie McGinnes directed, and I was the cinematographer. Before I start to break down the lighting, I just want to spend a second to make it clear that lighting is just a fraction of the equation that goes into creating something so cool and special. Makeup, acting, set design, everything has to fall in place, and lighting is just the cherry on top of everything. So I don't take credit for anything else but a little bit of the lighting design for the scene. The guys that were working with me, Spencer, the gaffer, the producers, L, Mike, director, Orie, camera department, Dana, they all did a fantastic job. And also the singer of the band did a crazy job acting. I think he delivered very well. Just remember, lighting is just one part of the equation whenever you want to create something that's cool and that's cinematic. So let's talk about lighting now. The first thing that I did as soon as I stepped into the room was, okay, how do I give some sort of even ambient lighting to this room that has that green cyan color that's typical of the movies Saw. Now as a cinematographer, I really start with the idea first of what's my ambient lighting going to be like, and then I try to build upon that. I've heard so many talented cinematographers talking about light the space, don't light the face, or start thinking about how do you light the space first, and then the face eventually, and how you lit your subject is going to fall in place, but you have to follow that kind of structure. So in order to create that soft ambient lighting with that cyan color that I was telling you about, we use the Helios Astera tubes. Helios Astera tubes are just like the Titan tubes, which are just full RGB tubes that you can hang everywhere you want. They come with this very cool metal clip that you can attach to the tube and then screw into the wall, and you can virtually put them everywhere. They're pretty much very similar to the Aputure tubes, Amaran tubes, or also the Nanlite Pavo tubes. They're just like an industry standard that, it's very easy to use because they have DMX integrated, and, my gaffer had those at disposal and turned out to be a great choice. You can find them on ShareGrid for as cheap as $125 a day. So we decided to put, 4 of these Helios tubes behind our singer, in order to create right away a little bit of a sense of backlighting. Backlighting is always, I feel like, the secret sauce to anything that looks cinematic. And then we decided to also add to the sides 2 tubes for each side of the room. So we had 4 behind the subject and 2 for each side of the other 2 walls. In this way, we were able to create, a general layer, of ambient lighting that had that cyan green color that's so typical of the movie Saw. And we also decided to use the tubes because, if you look at the scene, pretty much takes place in this sort of medical laboratory. So also, if the camera eventually accidentally shows the tubes, well, the tubes are fine to be shown on camera because they have that sort of fluorescent lighting fixture vibe, and I feel like they're very excusable as fixtures to be shown on frame because, like I was saying before, they kind of work well with the idea of being in a laboratory. Also, another thing that's very cool about the Helios tubes, but also other tubes have it, those tubes have the ability to flicker a little bit, to push that cyan green color to flicker every now and then. I feel like flickering lights always create that spooky horror kind of vibe that's very cool. The next set of lights I want to talk about were the red Aputure MCs that you can see on the walls. There's one behind the singer and one to the side of the singer. Those red MCs, we covered them with those emergency lights cover fixtures to hide the fact that they were MCs, and you can clearly see it's pretty easy to spot. If you're a filmmaker, I'm pretty sure you understand what's the trick going on there. The idea is to just, introduce into the scene some red pulsating lights. Why red? Because red is the opposite color, you know, in the color spectrum of green. And by being complementary colors, they work very well. But also red, because red is the color of, you know, emergency. That's why the lights are also pulsating. And also the red is matching, you know, the digital clock that's in the scene that's supposed to pretty much give a clue of how much time is left for the singer before he dies and gets stabbed by those needles. If you can see in the scene, you know, he's pretty much trying to reach over for a key. You know, he can't stretch himself too much towards it, otherwise he gets punctured by, you know, those needles, which is a very, very Saw classic type of scenario. If you have seen those movies, you know what I'm talking about. The next light that I want to be talking about, it's a light that it's outside the room that we were filming in. It's an Aputure 600C that shoots through the Venetian blinds, the same cyan green color that the Helios tubes were, you know, emitting into the room. Just the only difference is that that light is much harder, you know, much brighter, and it's not hitting the subject, because otherwise from the perspective of the camera that would be flat lighting, but it's just hitting the wall that's opposite to the camera. You don't really see it all the time, but it's nice. I feel like when the camera moves around, you can see sometimes, you know, those spots of hard light in the opposite side of the room where the camera is standing. All right, so the next light that I want to discuss is our key light. The key light that pretty much is illuminating our subject at all times. The singer, you know, strapped to the chair. The light is an Godox RGB panel. It's a very similar light to like an Namron F22C. It's sitting pretty much on junior Manus arm, because I wanted this light to be able to be very close to the subject, but also, you know, not having the stands in the frame. The idea is that this light is just pushing the same, again, cyan green color that, you know, the Helios tubes and the 600C outside are pushing in the scene, so that everything kind of feels like belongs to the same environment, but it's actually three different lights, you know, doing the job. And this one is just on the face of our character, and it's got the, you know, the egg crate, because I want to make sure that it hits just our character. And the idea is that, you know, this light, by being the opposite side of the face where the camera is, it's you know, just giving a little bit more exposure to one side of the face, the one, you know, that's opposite to our camera, in order to create, you know, a little bit of mood on his face. You know, by exposing the camera for the bright side of his face, we inevitably get, you know, the camera side of the face to be darker. And this is how you can literally create shape. So every time we look at the singer, we don't have that flat lighting that we would get only with the tubes. And the last remaining light for this lighting setup is this red tube that you can see in this BTS photo that I'm going to show you right now. You know, this red tube right behind the singers, the only function of this tube is to pretty much augment the red light that the two MCs were supposed to, you know, give to the subject. You know, even cranking the two MCs to 100%, the amount of red light that I really wanted, you know, to have on the subject wasn't enough. Therefore, I put this tube that's right on top of him. The red light just, you know, makes a cool effect on his hair, creates a little bit of nice color contrast with the cyan, and it also enhances dramatically, you know, the red blood that's going across his arms. And I feel like it just makes the scene a whole lot more color contrasty. And I guess that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you liked this tutorial. I hope it was helpful. I'm trying to get a hang of doing more tutorials. I'm very rusty talking to the camera, but I'm trying to get better. If you care to watch the final music video, there is a link in the description. Before I completely sign off, I want to thank once again the amazing crew behind this music video. I'm going to put their names in the description below. If you like this video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.